So now that we have done comping, we have done distribution, now let's bring the footage back from the CG guys. So then we can do some review of the shots and then go into comping. So what I want to do is, by using the same export structures that we used to export, we can use them to import things, even though they're not coming from Nuke or from Nuke Studio. They can come from any other package or any other part of the pipeline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my clips and I'm going to say build track from export structure. This allows me to come and pick a track that I want to bring that in. This is going to be the robot, and I'm going to pick an export structure for that is coming from. So I'm going to use CG shots, and they are coming from the shot name, the renders, and again the name of the actual file. Those are EXRs, and they're coming from an external render. So I'm going to use that to build this track. So I'm going to say build, and it's going to go and find all those shots for me, so I don't have to do any manual work by importing the independent files and then drop them into the timeline. And straight away, as you can see, there is some that have red areas, which is either they don't exist yet or they haven't been rendered completely. So let's actually do a little bit of checking on that. So now we have all the renders. We also have all the passes that are coming with those renders, so I can actually check all the passes. So I'm going to do that with my supervisor in a moment. So I'm going to call Anis in a moment to come in and work with me on the review. But before that, I want to make sure we have the right shots. So first thing is, because they're supposed to be comped, so all I want to do is actually blend that track with the items below. I can straight away see my stop comp. So let's actually zoom in. I can come in here, do a little bit of play, so I can see how that is working. Great. Let's see which ones are red. So on this one we have a single frame of it, and I think the reason is because the robot is not moving. I think the decision from the supervisor is that this is supposed to be a single frame. So I'll do that. I will actually just find that shot in my project bin. So there you are, it finds it as the first shot. And what I can do here is very simply is actually replace it. So I'm gonna delete that clip, and let's actually just go into my first frame, and I'm gonna insert that in here. Yes, okay. And I'm gonna zoom in and just gonna go and extend that to make sure it matches my shot underneath. So cool, we have the single frame that is gonna go in that. Obviously we'll need to track it, but that's something you can do in the comp. It's not a problem. That's what you call efficiency when you're doing commercials. You need to do things quickly. Okay, let's look at the next one. So this one is actually part of the shot, and what we can see is that the robot actually comes in later. So one of the things I can actually do in here is reposition it the same as I have with the screen. So we can maybe try and use and copy and paste the transform from the plate to the shot and see, oh look, that practically matches what I want. There you are, that's great. So now we have him walking in the background in the whole thing. We probably need to crop it to that section. So actually, if we use the crop as well from here, let's see what happens. Almost. It didn't fit completely, so obviously because I'm doing the set of operations in a different moment, so I can definitely come and fix that to be in the right place. Probably one of the things I could do is just swap the order of the transforms, and there you are. That's exactly what I need. So it's now cropped to the right place, it's moved to the right position, and that is great. Now we have that element and it's the right position. Probably what we want is for him to walk until the end. So this probably what needs is to be slipped to the end of the shot, and all I need is to actually kind of online that, and that's the element that goes, and that's now in the right placement for that. The next one, okay, there is no robot on this shot, therefore that's why I don't need that shot. And the last one here, again, it's just in, so it's not needed for that shot. Cool. So now that I have everything, I could call my supervisor and say, cool, we can review this in context of the edit and start looking at the shots and find if that's exactly what we want. We can actually see the comparison between the robot and the animation reference that we got very easily and check if that actually matches. We can see how that matches, he walks through it, and so on, right? But there is something else. I told you when I do reviews, I like to have a sequence that is different from my review session. The reason why is because that way I can actually have a place where I can play with my supervisor, put everything for the dailies instead of reviewing necessarily in context without going completely out. So what I'm gonna do for that, I'm gonna show you another way of importing the files. So I did it with the export structures, which is file-based, but you could be connected to a database. You could be connected to Shotgun, or to FTrack, or to NEAM, or you could have literally a spreadsheet where you actually know where the data is and where the stuff is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna call for today's dailies for those shots. So what I'm gonna use my shot manager example here to import those shots. So I'm gonna say import from spreadsheet. So by using the import from spreadsheet, what it has done is it has created a new sequence with the date of that the sequence was created or the playlist was assigned, and it has brought into that timeline all the shots in order for us to review. Not only has done that, but it has also, as you can see, assigned colors to the shots, and that is based on the status. So that could be obviously based on your statuses in Shotgun or FTrack, but it has also added tagging to it. And the reason why that is very useful is because it will become quite easy once we're in the review session to start looking for specific shots. Obviously in this show we have only a handful of shots, but we know that in an episodic show or anything like that you're going to have hundreds and hundreds of shots which you're working on. So the nice thing is to be able to jump and find things. You can use the tagging system, which is the way that we add metadata to shots. You can add them to the track, or you can add them directly to the clip. In this case, as you can see, that you cannot see any tags on the timeline, and the reason is because I have added them to the specific clip. So I can actually apply different tagging when a shot is in progress or is awaiting approval to when it's final in a different version. If I do that on the track items, the tagging is directly to that track item. So then when you change a version, it doesn't change the tagging of that given shot. So in this case, and we'll do this with an ease once we start the session, but quite quickly, if I want to check which ones are my shots in progress, I can grab the in progress, search on my spreadsheet, and you can see how now I have only the shots, and I can start doing alt and click, and I can start jumping between the shots. So we'll use some of these once we are with an ease ready to review. So I'm going to clear that out, and now if I go back to my timeline, you can see my timeline as well has been has the linking, sorry, the colors attached to them. So it will be very easy for us to jump between the shots and find them in either of the two timelines and mark them as well. The last thing I want to do before we start the session with an ease is I'm gonna unlink these shots. And what do I mean by that? There is something called version linking, and version linking allows me to update all the versions of that shot in all other given timelines. I'll explain a little bit more of this after the review session, but before the review session I want to unlink these ones because they are my review timeline. So I want to be able to play around and change the versions of this without affecting any of my other timelines. In this case, you can see how I have now a broken link as an icon, meaning that those shots have been unlinked. And on the project bins, you can see how those items now have a link with a line in the middle. That means that those clips have track items or clips in different timelines with different statuses of the linking, of the version linking. So we are doing a mix thing. On some timelines there are link, and in this timeline there are link. I'll explain a little bit more once we finish the session, so I can show you how we use version linking to update to the rest of the shots.